Thank you for viewing this innovation vlog brought to you by the Prosecutors Center for Excellence. My name is Sophia Roach, and I'm joined today by District Attorney Dan Rubenstein, who serves Colorado's 21st Judicial District. Today, he is here to share with us an innovative prevention program for high-need kids in his jurisdiction. Can you first start out just by describing your jurisdiction for us?
Yeah, sure. So the 21st Judicial District is a single county judicial district, which is kind of rare in Colorado, but we are Mesa County. Mesa County is on the far western border of Colorado by Utah, and the county has about 150,000 residents. It's mostly in the valley floor, which kind of it's kind of high desert area. Sits between Colorado National Monument and the Grand Mesa. And in the valley floor, I would say there's about 120,000 residents. The biggest city is Grand Junction. It's still at 65,000. We used to be a very kind of boom bust energy reliant county. That's changed quite a bit as our tourism has increased. We have a big wine industry, mountain biking, outdoor recreation. And then Colorado Mesa University, who's actually a partner to the Lighthouse Program, has grown quite a bit. And so it's become a bit of a college town. So what used to be a very boom bust area has now really become more of a tourist industry and a lot more younger feel. So it's some of our challenges as we've dealt with a lot of the drug issues that energy industry brought with it.
Yeah. So tell us about your own office, prosecutors, staff numbers, things like that.
Yeah, so we have 77 total employees. 27 of them are attorneys. That employee list does include the Lighthouse Program, which has 5 members, but our juvenile team is 7 total members, and 5 of them are for the Lighthouse Program. So you can tell from those numbers that we very much favor diverting kids through that program.
Wow, and really prioritizing it with resources. So we've alluded to it. Tell us a little bit about the Lighthouse Program, some of its goals, how it was developed.
Sure. So when I took over as DA in 2015, we had a pretty robust juvenile diversion program. And over the years, the Colorado legislature has been tinkering with the juvenile statutes quite a bit and really making it so that taking juveniles through the court process became kind of ineffective. And the reasons for that were a variety, but largely due to how long it would take to get kids through the system. And so the Lighthouse Program came about in June of 2020 when my wife and I were on a hike. This was, of course, about 3 months after the shutdown with COVID. Right. And my wife had spent 12 years as a district court magistrate, and one of her caseloads was the truancy caseload. And she, for years, had been telling me, you're getting your diversion kids about 2 years too late. If you really want to have an impact, you need to get them when they first start missing school. So on this hike, we started talking about, well, what would that look like and how would we do that? Because I didn't really look at my job as DA to start involving myself with school truancy. And then I realized, why shouldn't I? Why shouldn't I expand my role as DA and get to a point of looking at getting as upstream as possible? And so the discussion, went to, okay, could we contact the school district and see if they would be interested in letting us partner with them to run their truancy program as a diversion program rather than sending the truancy kids through court? And what about suspensions and expulsions? Could we run those programs as a diversion program and, get them services, wraparound services as early as possible? So I approached the school, who actually at the time, my chief of juvenile was on the school board. So that was a fairly easy conversation. And then shortly after that, I approached Colorado Mesa University's president to see if we could work with the college students. And the idea there was, they're really more near peer mentors than my paid staff are. Certainly the kids who are going through whatever issues they're going through don't look like me and didn't have the same background as me. And they're dealing with all sorts of issues like, gender identity crises and other things that, a lot of kids at Colorado Mesa University overcame in order to get to college. And so as we sort of worked through those things, we were offered by the university to actually put the program on CMU's campus. And we have interns and we have some paid students that are doing work study that are volunteering there. And these are kids that are part of the psychology program on campus, part of the social work program, the criminal justice program. So these are college students that actually want to work with these kids for a career and now get to start doing so as part of their education, either getting college credit or getting paid on campus to do it.
Wow. So from a kind of administrative perspective, who leads up the program? I mean, how do you kind of put these collaborations into a network that actually works?
Yeah, so I at the time I only had one juvenile diversion coordinator. We were fighting with, we had two at one point. It had gone down to one just because of staffing issues. So when I filled our second position, I actually approached the head of Division of Youth Services, which is our juvenile detention facility. That the woman who ran that program, Jackie Berry, had been with the Department of Human Services for many years before she went to Division of Youth Services. And I approached her and asked her if she would be willing to leave running that facility and run this program. She got very excited and did so. And it took really about 2 years from the initial inception of the idea in June of 2020 until we really were fully launched. And we've staffed up to now 5 staff members that are doing it. And Jackie oversees a screener, oversees some diversion coordinators, and then we have a support staff person that's lent to us from the Partners Program, which is kind of Colorado's version of Big Brothers Big Sisters. Okay. And so that's our administrative support. Jackie runs it all from the campus, and then she also oversees all the volunteers from Colorado Mesa and all the paid staff from Colorado Mesa.
And when you say from the campus of Colorado Mesa, or from one of the school district campuses?
From Colorado Mesa, yeah.
Wow. So, okay, so they've really put some resources behind this.
Yes, and so with the school district, that's actually turned out to be one of our smaller referral sources. Department of Human Services refers a lot of cases. We have a lot of mental health providers that refer cases, and we do get some from the school. But one of the things that we've seen over time is that truancy tends to sometimes be the kid is the problem. Sometimes it's the parents that are the problem. Sometimes it's actually a brother or a sister that's really causing the disruption in the family. And so one of the things that Jackie Berry has gotten very good at is once we get kids in, she wraps around the entire family as a unit and makes sure that we're providing services to the entire family. Because if you don't have buy-in from the parents or you have a disruptive sibling, then it really hampers your ability to get anything done.
And so talk to us a little bit about what a kid who's involved in this does or sees. I mean, what are the types of services that they're receiving?
So one of the things that we decided early on was we didn't really care how you got there. How you got there was not going to guide what services the family or the kid needs. You could get there because we're diverting you from court, which is where it all started with a diversion from court. You could get there because you're skipping school or you got suspended or your parents are involved in a DHS case. What we do is we screen and we assess, and substance abuse issues. We have a special program related to fentanyl and the various opioid problems we're seeing. There's a lot of mental health counseling. There are classes in just how to start living, how to start understanding money, understanding how bank accounts work, understanding various things. But that's for some of the older kids. We actually have 2 6-year-olds that are in the program right now who threatened to kill their teacher. And so the services for those kids, of course, look very different than the high school kids. And that's really surrounding mental health issues and trying to make sure they understand the difference between real and pretend. I mean, these are kids that are young enough that they're seeing video games and they're seeing what happens in video games and not really understanding that that's not actually life. And so they don't understand the impact they're having with their behavior.
Now, when you first started down this avenue, you said you weren't sure if the prosecutor had a role in this. Looking back on it now, and if my math is correct, you've been live for a year, maybe a bit more. Why do you think it's important for prosecutors to be a part of this type of work?
Yeah, so the reason why I was hesitant at the beginning is my job description, essentially what I was elected for, is to represent the people of the state of Colorado in criminal actions. And so this is preventative. This is making sure we don't get to the point where there's criminal conduct occurring. And ultimately, what my constituents elected me to do is to keep this community safe and keep this community from being victimized. And so if I can do that through preventing the victims from ever being victimized, preventing the car break-in from ever happening, why wouldn't I want to get in front of that? And why wouldn't I want to do that? And then partnering with the district, the school district, and the university to make sure that the school district is seeing an increase in graduations and an increase in ability to move people on is also going to be likely to create a productive workforce. We've really seen in a lot of different ways how doing this is not just preventing crime, but also giving people something really positive to look forward to and increasing everybody's experience.
So any advice or lessons learned from this endeavor that you can pass on to others that might be considering something like this?
Yeah, well, the first thing I would say is, this program works for our community because of the services and resources we have in this community. I should also say that my increase in staff is 100% funded by the opioid settlement money. And so our community did we had about 45 stakeholders get together and talk about how we wanted to spend our opioid settlement money. And we came up with 63 different strategies, and this one ranked first. And so they gave me, they give me about $300,000 every 2 years to re-up and fund these resources. But again, these things work in our community because these are the services we have and the resources we have. Think outside the box and think about what your community has. And do you have a university? Do you have an engaged school district? And where else could there be referral sources, and who else would want to partner in something like this? Because if you have buy-in, these things always work.
Are you all collecting data, and is there any assistance that the university is providing with that? Because we've kind of learned that tends to be very important when we're looking at the productivity of these programs.
Yes, we collect lots and lots of data. We're actually about to launch a data dashboard. Colorado is one of 2 states where all of the DA's offices in the state are on the same case management system. And so Microsoft gave us a huge grant to have a data dashboard. And so we filter everything through there. But yeah, it's given us great information on who is successful in these programs. We have learned that people who are not there voluntarily are more likely to be successful. So whether you're there because it's a condition of your suspension or expulsion, or a condition of not filing a truancy, or a condition of not filing a court case, we do tend to get more engagement from them. But we are also tracking which age groups do better in what type of classes. We're really looking at everything to make sure we're going about it in the best way possible.
Well, thank you for sharing this innovation with us, and thank you to our viewers. If you would like to share an innovation with us, please contact PCE directly at contactpce@pceinc.org. Thank you so much.
Thank you.